Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Srimad Bhagavatam, translated with commentaries by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Chapter 3. Text 8. Translation. In the millennium of the Rishis, the personality of Godhead accepted the third empowered incarnation in the form of Devarshi Narada, who is a great sage among the demigods. He collected expositions of the Vedas which deal with devotional service and which inspire non-fruitive actions. Purport. The great sage Rishi Narada, who is an empowered incarnation of the personality of Godhead, propagated devotional service all over the universe. All great devotees of the Lord all over the universe and in different planets and species of life are his disciples. Srila Vyasadeva, the compiler of Srimad Bhagavatam, is also one of his disciples. He is the author of Narada Pancharatra, which is the exposition of the Vedas, particularly for devotional service of the Lord. This Narada Pancharatra trains the karmis, or the fruitive workers, to achieve liberation from the bondage of fruitive work. The conditioned souls are mostly attracted by fruitive work because they want to enjoy life by the sweat of their own brow. The whole universe is full of fruitive workers in all species of life. The fruitive works include all kinds of economic development plans, but the law of nature proves that every action has its resultant reaction, and the performer of work is bound up by such reactions, good and bad. The reaction of good work is comparative material prosperity, whereas the reaction of bad work is comparative material distress. But material conditions, either in so-called happiness or in so-called distress, are all meant ultimately for distress only. Foolish materialists have no information how to obtain eternal happiness in the unconditional state. Sri Narada informs these foolish fruitive workers how to realize the reality of happiness. He gives direction to the diseased men of the world how one's present engagement can lead one to the path of spiritual emancipation. The physician gives direction to the patient to take treated milk in the form of curd for his sufferings from indigestion due to his taking another milk preparation. So the cause of the disease and the remedy of the disease may be the same, but it must be treated by an expert physician like Narada. The Bhagavad Gita also gives the same solution for serving the Lord by the fruits of one's labor that will lead one to the path of Naiskarmya, or liberation. In the fourth incarnation, the Lord became Nara Narayan, the twin sons of the wife of King Dharma. Thus he undertook severe and exemplary penances to control the senses. Purport. As it was advised by King Rishabha to his sons, tapasya, or voluntary acceptance of penance for realization of the transcendence is the only duty of the human being. It was so done by the Lord himself as in an exemplary manner to teach us. The Lord is very kind to forgetful souls. He therefore comes himself and leaves behind necessary instructions and also sends his good sons as representatives to call all the conditioned souls back to Godhead. Recently, within the memory of everyone, Lord Chaitanya also appeared for the same purpose, to show special favor to fallen souls of this age of iron industry. The incarnation of Narayan is worshipped still at Narayan on the range of the Himalayas. Text 10. The fifth incarnation, named Lord Kapila, is foremost among perfected beings. He gave an exposition of the creative elements and metaphysics to Ashuri Brahman, for in course of time this knowledge had been lost. Purport. The sum total of the creative elements is 24 in all. Each and every one of them are explicitly explained in the system of Sankhya philosophy. Sankhya philosophy is generally called metaphysics by the European scholars. The etymological meaning of Sankhya is that which explains very lucidly by analysis of the material elements. This was done for the first time by Lord Kapila, who is said herein to be the fifth in the line of incarnations. Text 11. Translation. The sixth incarnation of the Purusha was the son of the sage Atri. He was born in the womb of Anasuya, who prayed for an incarnation. He spoke on the subject of transcendence to Alarka, Prahlad, and others, Yadu, Haihaya, etc. Purport. The Lord incarnated himself as Dattatreya, the son of Rishi Atri and Anasuya. The history of the birth of Dattatreya as an incarnation of the Lord is mentioned in the Brahmanda Purana in connection with the story of the devoted wife. It is said there that Anasuya, the wife of Rishi Atri, prayed before the Lords Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva as follows, quote, "My lords, if you are pleased with me, and if you desire me to ask from you some sort of blessings, then I pray that you combine together to become my son." End quote. This was accepted by the lords, and as Dattatreya, the Lord expounded the philosophy of the spirit soul, and especially instructed Alarka, Prahlad, Yadu, Haihaya, etc. Text 12. The seventh incarnation was Yajna, the son of Prajapati Ruchi and his wife Akuti. He controlled the period during the change of the Swayambhuva Manu and was assisted by demigods such as his son Yama and others. Purport. The administrative posts occupied by the demigods for maintaining the regulations of the material world are offered to the highly elevated, pious living beings. When there is a scarcity of such pious living beings, the Lord incarnates himself as Brahma, Prajapati, Indra, etc., and takes up the charge. During the period of Swayambhuva Manu, the present period is of Vaivasvata Manu, there was no suitable living being who could occupy the post of Indra, the king of the Indraloka, heaven planet. The Lord himself at that time became Indra. assisted by his own sons like Yama and other demigods, Lord Yagna ruled the administration of the universal affairs. Text 13. The 8th incarnation was King Rishabha, son of King Nabi, and his wife Meru Devi. In this incarnation, the Lord showed the path of perfection, which is followed by those who have fully controlled their senses and who are honored by all orders of life. Purport. The society of human beings is naturally divided into 8 by orders and statuses of life. The 4 divisions of occupation and 4 divisions of cultural advancement. The intelligent class, the administrative class, the productive class, and the laborer class are the 4 divisions of occupation. And the student life, the householder's life, retired life, and renounced life are the 4 statuses of cultural advancement towards the path of spiritual realization. Out of these, the renounced order of life, or the order of sannyasi, is considered the highest of all, and a sannyasi is constitutionally the spiritual master for all the orders and divisions. In the sannyas order, also, there are 4 stages of upliftment toward perfection. Such stages are called the Kutichak, Bahudak, Parivrajacharya, and the Paramahamsa. The Paramahamsa stage of life is the highest stage of perfection. This order of life is respected by all others. Maharaj Rishabha, the son of King Nabi and Meru Devi, was an incarnation of the Lord, and he instructed his sons to follow the path of perfection by tapasya, which sanctifies one's existence and enables one to attain the stage of spiritual happiness, which is eternal and ever increasing. Every living being is searching after happiness, but no one knows where eternal and unlimited happiness is obtainable. Foolish men seek after material sense pleasure as a substitute for real happiness, but such foolish men forget that temporary so-called happiness derived from sense pleasures is also enjoyed by the dogs and the hogs. No animal, bird, or beast is bereft of this sense pleasure. In every species of life, including the human form of life, such happiness is immensely obtainable. The human form of life is, however, not meant for such cheap happiness. The human life is meant for attaining eternal and unlimited happiness by spiritual realization. This spiritual realization is obtained by tapasya, or undergoing voluntarily the path of penance and abstinence from material pleasures. Those who have been trained for abstinence in material pleasures are called dhira, or men undisturbed by the senses. These dhiras can accept the orders of sannyas, and they can gradually rise up to the status of the Paramahamsa, which is adored by all members of the society. King Rishabha propagated this mission, and at the last stage, he became completely aloof from the material bodily needs, which is a rare stage not to be imitated by foolish men, but to be worshipped by all. Text 14. O Brahmins, the 9th incarnation of the Lord, prayed for by sages, was King Prithu, who cultivated the land to yield various produces, and for that reason the earth was beautiful and attractive. Purport. Before the advent of King Prithu, there was great havoc of maladministration due to the vicious life of the previous king, the father of Maharaj Prithu. The intelligent class of men, namely the sages and the Brahmins, not only prayed for the Lord to come down, but they also dethroned the previous king. It is the duty of the king to be pious and thus look after the all-around welfare of the citizens. Whenever there is some negligence on the part of the king in discharging his duty, the intelligent class of men must dethrone him. The intelligent class of men, however, do not occupy the royal throne because they have more important duties for the welfare of the public. Instead of occupying the royal throne, they prayed for the incarnation of the Lord, and the Lord came as Maharaj Prithu. Real intelligent men, or qualified Brahmins, never aspire for political posts. Maharaj Prithu excavated many produces from the earth, and thus not only the citizens became happy to have such a good king, but the complete sight of the earth also became beautiful and attractive. Text 15. When there was a complete inundation after the period of the Chakshusha Manu, and the whole world was deep within water, the Lord accepted the form of a fish and protected Vaivasvata Manu, keeping him on a boat. Purport. According to Sripad Sridhar Swami, the original commentator on the Bhagavat, there is not always a devastation after the change of every Manu, and yet this inundation after the period of Chakshusha Manu took place in order to show some wonders to Satyavrata. But Sri Jiva Goswami has given definite proofs from authoritative scriptures like Vishnu Damotara, Markandeya Purana, Harivamsa, etc., that there is always a devastation after the end of each and every Manu. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti has also supported Srila Jiva Goswami, and he, Sri Chakravarti, has also quoted from the Bhagavatamrita about this inundation after each Manu. Apart from this, the Lord, in order to show special favor to Satyavrata, a devotee of the Lord, in this particular period, incarnated himself. Text 16. The 11th incarnation of the Lord was in the form of a tortoise, whose shell served as a pivot for the Mandarachalam hill, which was being used as a churning rod by the theists and the atheists of the universe. Purport. Once, both the atheists and the theists were engaged in producing nectar from the sea, so that all of them could become deathless by drinking it. At that time, the Mandarachalam hill was used as the churning rod, and the shell of Lord Tortoise, the incarnation of Godhead, became the resting place, the pivot of the hill in the sea water. Text 17. In the 12th incarnation, the Lord appeared as Dhanvantari, and in the 13th, he allured the atheists by the charming beauty of a woman and gave nectar to the demigods to drink. Text 18. In the 14th incarnation, the Lord appeared as Nishinga and bifurcated the strong body of the atheist Hiranyakashipu with his nails, just as a carpenter pierces cane. Text 19. In the 15th incarnation, the Lord assumed the form of a dwarf Brahmin, Vamana, and visited the arena of sacrifice arranged by Maharaj Bali. Although at heart he was willing to regain the kingdom of the 3 planetary systems, he simply asked for a donation of 3 steps of land. Purport. The Almighty God can bestow upon anyone the kingdom of the universe from a very small beginning, and similarly, he can take away the kingdom of the universe on the plea of begging a small piece of land. Text 20. As Bhrigupati, the 16th incarnation of the Godhead, the Lord annihilated the administrative class, Kshatriyas, 21 times, being angry with them because of their rebellion against the Brahmins, the intelligent class. Purport. The Kshatriyas, or the administrative class of men, are expected to rule the planet by the direction of the intelligent class of men, who give direction to the rulers in terms of the standard Shastras, or the books of revealed knowledge. The rulers carry on the administration according to that direction. Whenever there is disobedience on the part of the Kshatriyas, or the administrative class, against the orders of the learned and intelligent Brahmins, the administrators are removed by force from the posts. An arrangement is made for better administration. Text 21. Thereafter, in the 17th incarnation of Godhead, Sri Vyasadeva appeared in the womb of Satyavati, wife of Parsar Muni, and he divided the one Veda into several branches and sub-branches, seeing that the people in general were less intelligent. Purport. Originally, the Veda is one, but Srila Vyasadeva divided the original Veda into 4, namely Sama, Yajur, Rig, Atharva. And then again, they were explained in the different branches like the Puranas and the Mahabharata. Vedic language and the subject matter are very difficult for ordinary men. They are understood by the highly intelligent and self-realized Brahmins. But the present age of Kali is full of ignorant men. Those who are born by a Brahmin father are, in the present age, no better than the Sudras or the women. The twice-born men, namely the Brahmins, Kshatriyas, and Vaishyas, are expected to undergo a cultural purificatory process known as samskaras. But because of the bad influence of the present age, the so-called members of the Brahmin and other higher order families are no longer highly cultured. They are called the Dvijabandhu, or the friends and family members of the twice-born. But these Dvijabandhus are classified amongst the Sudras and the women. Srila Vyasadeva divided the Vedas in various branches and sub-branches for the sake of the less intelligent classes, like the Dvijabandhus, Sudras, and the women. Text 22. In the 18th incarnation, the Lord appeared as King Ram. In order to perform some pleasing work for the demigods, he exhibited superhuman powers by controlling the Indian Ocean and then killing the atheist king Ravana, who was on the other side of the sea. Purport. The personality of Godhead Sri Ram assumed the form of a human being and appeared on the earth for the purpose of doing some pleasing work for the demigods, or the administrative personalities, to maintain the order of the universe. Sometimes great demons and atheists like Ravana and Hiranyakashipu and many others become very famous due to advancing material civilization by the help of material science and other activities. with a spirit of challenging the established order of the Lord. For example, the attempt to fly to other planets by material means is a challenge to the established order. The conditions of each and every planet are different, and different classes of human beings are accommodated there for particular purposes mentioned in the codes of the Lord. But, puffed up by tiny success in material advancement, sometimes the godless materialist challenges the existence of God. Ravana was one of them, and he wanted to deport ordinary men to the planets of Indra, heaven, by material means, without consideration of the necessary qualifications. He wanted a staircase to be built up, directly reaching the heavenly planet, so that people might not be required to undergo the routine of pious work necessary to enter that planet. He also wanted to perform other acts against the established rule of the Lord. He even challenged the authority of Sri Ram, the personality of Godhead, and kidnapped his wife Sita. Of course, Lord Ram came to chastise this atheist, answering the prayer and desire of the demigods. He therefore took up the challenge of Ravan, and the complete activity is the subject matter of the Ramayana. Because Lord Ramachandra was the personality of Godhead, he exhibited superhuman activities which no human being, including the materially advanced Ravan, could perform. Lord Ramachandra prepared a royal road on the Indian Ocean with stones that floated on the water. The modern scientists have done research in the area of weightlessness, but it is not possible to bring in weightlessness anywhere and everywhere. But because weightlessness is the creation of the Lord, by which he can make the gigantic planets fly and float in the air, he made the stones, even within this earth, to be weightless, and prepared a stone bridge on the sea without any supporting pillar. That is the display of the power of God. Text 23. In the 19th and 20th incarnations, the Lord invented himself as Lord Balaram and Lord Kṛṣṇa in the family of Vrishni, the Yadu dynasty, and by so doing, he removed the burden of the world. Purport. The specific mention of the word Bhagavan in this text indicates that Balaram and Kṛṣṇa are original forms of the Lord. This will be further explained later. Lord Kṛṣṇa is not an incarnation of the Purusha, as we learned from the beginning of this chapter. He is directly the original personality of Godhead, and Balaram is the first plenary manifestation of the Lord. From Baladev, the first phalanx of plenary expansions, Vasudeva, Shankarshan, Aniruddha, and Pradyumna expands. Lord Sri Kṛṣṇa is Vasudeva, and Baladev is Shankarshan.